Mike. How you doing tonight?
God bless you, Pastor Paul. How do I sound? Pretty good? Okay?
You actually sound wonderful. I think the people are going to be excited about this. You sound great tonight, Mike. Great
All
tonight.
right, all right, all right.
All right, Mike. Wow. I want to tell you, Mike, some good news. Last Thursday, we had about 8,400 people show up at one given time. Okay, I think that video has been seen 68 or 69,000 views, but we had 191 salvations from that broadcast, not only live, but throughout. It's 178 they said live, but the archives continued and more got in, and we had 191. This is the most amount of people ever saved on a live broadcast. And I want to thank you because I think some of the candid discussion we had helped open the eyes of the blind to know that Christ is coming soon. So God bless you, Mike. Thank you for being here on these Thursday nights.
Salvation is a wonderful thing.
Amen.
Wonderful thing.
Amen. All right, Mike. We got a lot to talk about tonight, but let's start with this 3 asteroids scraping by. I got a haircut, Mike, today. I got a haircut because 2 of them last night and 1 tonight. One last night missed us by 0.1 lunar distance, less than 20,000 miles. 1 missed us by 0.3, and tonight one's going to miss us by 0.5. So, Mike, what's going on here? I mean, how close is it going to get here? We're going to get hit, aren't we?
Yeah, sooner or later we're going to get a bunch of small biscuit-sized little deals smacking into us. And you got to remember something, objects the size of Volkswagen. They normally penetrate our atmosphere in very strange ways frequently, but most of these asteroids hit the ocean. From the size of cantaloupes to a Volkswagen, they do that. Not quite the size. Now the one's the size of the one that exploded in Russia, right?
Yeah.
That was a pretty hefty one.
Yeah.
The shockwave damage is what a lot of people are going to have to entertain soon enough. But there are indicators for this because we have a real development happening, and so that's going to be a precursor to quite a few things that will. Well, like I said before, you won't have to explain too much to anybody. They're going to be asking for an explanation as to why certain things are happening and what does, this mean or that mean, especially the dust event we have coming. It's on the way, and that's a continual buildup.
When you mentioned that before, and I just saw this week that this red dust is starting to really become a problem here on the Earth. It's a red dust. And you mentioned this like several years ago. And you said, Paul, there's a day coming and we're going to have to all walk around with gas masks. Not those little masks that we've been wearing, but gas masks. And now we're hearing this red dust is really, really starting to filter into our atmosphere. Can you tell us about it?
Well, one day it's going to be like this. Kind of normal, right? Because you think it'd be a gradual buildup. No, it's not going to be gradual. It's going to be almost overnight. So it'll be bad. That will poison the waters. That will really affect the waters deeply. Not only that, but it will also begin to destroy crops even more. Animals, they're going to be real sick from that stuff. That's iron arsenic based.
Arsenic?
Yeah. It's a lot of arsenic in space, and normally arsenic will come down with some of these meteorites and comet trails they're laden with arsenic as they hit the suns. When they heat up by the sun, the gases that are emitted, a lot of those gases are just laden with arsenic. So we have to deal with that. That's coming along the way. This same thing that we're going through right now was recorded in over 168 different cultures in times past. And all 168 being in various locations around the earth tell the exact same story. The exact same story. A few of those cultures, about 20 of them, tell of a time before them when that same thing happened. A cyclical event that's coming around again. They had a hard time believing it back then, Pastor Paul. Archaeologists, as they dig more and more, they find more and more. They go back in time more and more and dig up more things. They're finding quite a few things that are, they frighten leadership. They frighten quite a few people. It's going to alter, it has altered the ways that governments operate. It influences them largely. For example, you know those figurines they dig up all over the planet?
Yep, yep.
The weird ones, like you'll have little tiny lizard figurines.
Yeah, what's that about?
Dog priest figurines.
What's
and
that?
These are ancient.
Yeah.
Well, after this last calamity, as they were going through another dating method, a story has emerged, something a little different than anything that's out there on the internet. Something different than what people may be comfortable with, but these figurines were made after the calamity. They're also found near scrolls, etchings in rock that contain iconography and other languages. And they were telling the cultures that were coming after them, the generations, their children, and children's children. Those are messages. Here's what happens. Close to these calamities, there's an uncovering event. And this is where people are known for what they really are, right? These figurines represent what was unveiled during the time of great calamity. You have to remember something. When these calamities happened, people fell apart. There were no courageous people at all out there with these events. And so after they were over, given the just the decimation of the human population in various places, they built structures. They tried to tell us. They wanted the information to get down to us to let us know this is what you're facing. Those figurines and some of the artifacts that these guys are gathering are them telling us these are the things that were involved the entire time. For example, if you ever see some type of a reptile, and they specifically are with a child or feeding a child, that's a message. And what that message is these things in our society, we call them demons, you can call them demons, but they're in our society feeding their young, right, with us, by us. They feed their young by us, not physically eating us, no, not that, but by corrupting our way of life. They feed themselves and they feed their children. And come to find out, these calamities, they blamed it on them. They said they corrupted humanity 4 or 5 times so bad that the Creator, all of them admitted. In fact, it's so funny because they recently dug up some Mayan artifacts that threw all their gods out of the window. And they said, nope, there's a one true God. But we were deceived. They actually deciphered and found this repetitious statement through all these societies, and they admitted they were deceived. And so they passed down to their children various stories, which also were, they were confused over time because people operate by ego and greed and these things, and they changed the narrative. The original narrative was that children, you're going to have to deal with this again. Children, these things are in your society, and they are causing your corruption, which is bringing all this down on your heads.
Wait a minute, that
will surely happen again.
So in other words, we're going to have a repeat of a reptilian manipulation or demonic manipulation, would you say?
I would say more like demonic, because some of these figurines, although you find reptiles, the majority of the figurines were not reptile. The majority of the figurines were human bodies mixed with animal heads. Chimeras, I guess you could say. And they were all over these things are found all over the world.
Skinwalkers?
All over the world.
Skinwalkers? Skinwalkers, Mike?